What is going on, everybody? Tyler Brandt back here with another video. Happy NFL Sunday. Happy week 1. We officially made it. Football is back today. It's the greatest day of the year. It's another Christmas. It's freaking better than Christmas. The NFL is back. Let's have some fun. We got 17 beautiful weeks of football and the playoffs. I can't wait. I'm going to be sitting on the couch watching Red Zone all day today, but before we get into that, we got to break down the Patriots and Dolphins, week 1 of the NFL season. The Dolphins coming into town at 4:25 on CBS. They're in New England, which should be a fun game. Mac Jones' first official start, first little bit of action in the NFL. I cannot wait to watch him play. Without any further ado, let's break it down. Dolphins and Patriots. How do the Patriots win this game? So, on the offensive side of the ball, Brian Flores, of course, long tenure in New England, was a very, very good defensive coordinator, defensive play caller for New England. He's going to know just how to really get under Josh McDaniel's skin and kind of get in the nuances of this offense for the most part, although Mac Jones will add some new wrinkles to this offense, that's for sure. But Brian Flores is basically, at least as far as I can see, he runs a ton of cover zero naturally just all the time. But I expect him to run a ton of cover zero blitzes against the New England Patriots this week because of the fact that Mac Jones is making his first start. And what not only does cover zero make it hard for any quarterback, especially ones that are young and new to the league, but Brian Flores disguises them very well. He's able to drop guys like Christian Wilkins back into coverage, and he's able to do different things that really disguise it well. So he's going to make Mac use that Alabama tenure, that big Alabama brain that he has to try to move the ball down the field. So again, I would expect a lot of cover zero against Mac Jones, trying to constantly put pressure on him all game, making him make tough decisions under pressure. They do have a very good secondary, which allows Brian Flores to do that. So I do expect to see a lot of heavy blitzes, especially on passing downs against the Patriots and against Mac Jones. So the best way to counter a cover zero blitz or heavy blitzing like that is to get the defense off the line of scrimmage and get the ball down the field. Now, the Patriots don't exactly have the best personnel to do that very consistently, but I think one of the more important players this week, especially in the passing game, is going to be Nelson Agholor, pending that he plays. He did practice Friday, but he's been on the injury report all week, so I think he's going to be a game-time decision, but I do think he's going to play. I would be surprised if he didn't play. So with that being said, it's going to be him. I think that is the key component in getting the ball down the field when they do take shots down the field. They did have Damiere Byrd last year. Nelson Agholor is a significantly better version of Damiere Byrd. So I think they'll be able to utilize him. Hopefully they'll be able to use him to get that defense off the line of scrimmage and stop them from crowding up in Mac Jones' face. Another very good way, at least in my opinion, to counter these cover zero blitzes and to cover all the pressure that's going to be in his face is to get Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry working early. I'm excited just as a fan to watch the personnel sets that they go out in and how they're being able to be utilized in this offense. But if you can keep them on the field and actually run the offense with them very fluently, you're going to force Brian Flores to make substitutions to get guys off the field that aren't normally in blitz packages or cover zero packages and stuff like that. So if you can get Smith and Henry both cooking early, you can get the ball down the field, you can kind of force Brian Flores to play your game offensively. So if they can, again, get the two of them up and running, both as pass catchers and as run blockers to get Damian Harris and that running game going, I think you're in very good shape as well offensively. Finally, the run game. Now, the Dolphins were fairly good against the run last year in 2020, and I wouldn't expect that to change very much. At least on the defensive line, personnel-wise, not much has changed. So I do think it would be a little bit of an issue to get the run going, but the Patriots counter that with one of the best offensive lines in the league, and it's a plus matchup most weeks that they'll have in the trenches, offensive line versus defensive line. So that being said, I expect Damian Harris to have himself a nice little game. Jakob Johnson's in there as the fullback to run all of their power O stuff and to run all of their stuff over the middle. I think that the running game shouldn't have too much of an issue getting going, and I think they're going to need that to offset kind of what the Dolphins are going to do defensively and to just take the pressure off of Mac Jones. And again, going back to the two tight end set as well, if you're able to run the ball with the two of them on the field, again, you're forcing Brian Flores to pull different guys and to make adjustments to get his guys off the field. Defensively for the New England Patriots, Austin Jackson, the left tackle, the starting left tackle for the Dolphins, who's on the IL, who's on the injury report this week with COVID. He was activated, so he is going to play this week. But that still doesn't help the Dolphins too much, at least personnel-wise. I do think New England's one of their bigger advantages this week is the defensive line and those linebackers against the Miami Dolphins offensive line. I would expect that New England is able to get home and get to Tua regularly without having to bring a ton of blitzes and a ton of pressure. I think it's going to be very fun to watch Matt Judon, Chase Winovich, Kyle Van Noy, Christian Barmore, Lawrence Guy. There's going to be a ton of really, really fun stuff to watch this week getting after Tua. And I do think Tua is good, and I think he's going to probably be a pretty good or maybe even a very good quarterback in this league. But to me, he hasn't shown too much. He has shown improvements going into year 2. The second preseason game against the Falcons is the one where we really got to see the most of him. But I still, to me, think the jury is out on him. He still has yet to play in a lot of big moments. Again, we've talked about it this week. Last year, Brian Flores kind of ran like a relief pitcher role with him and Fitzpatrick. So this is the first year where it's 100% him. He is the guy, which I think is, again, the jury is still out on him. I'm not all the way bought in on him. So I do think if the Patriots can bring a fairly good amount of pressure consistently, he's not one that's going to be able to shoot the ball 50, 60, 70 yards downfield with the flick of a wrist. I mean, he does have a good arm, but it's not an absolute laser beam of an arm. So if you can get him to make adjustments, go to his second and his third read, make him throw from uncomfortable positions, all of a sudden you may be able to, you know, steal a ball or two and start to win the turnover battle. In the secondary this week, John Jones versus Jalen Waddle is going to be the matchup, one of the matchups to watch. That slot on slot, speed on speed, physical on physical. It's going to be a very fun matchup to watch. The other matchup I'm watching in the secondary is J.C. Jackson versus Devontae Parker. Both are plus matchups for New England, at least in my opinion. I think that J.C. Jackson, which will be very interesting, this is his time. I mean, he wants to be paid like a number 1 corner. I mean, from what we've seen, he deserves to be paid like a number 1 corner. So it's for the next 6 or 7 weeks, again, it's time to put up or shut up for J.C. Jackson with Gilly on the shelf. Go out and earn yourself a bag, and it starts by doing a very good job on Devontae Parker and making it even tougher for Tua to get the ball down the field. I will say one of the bigger red flags, or one of the things I'm very intrigued and looking at the most, is the running game. So the Dolphins run kind of an outside zone run scheme. They have a 3-headed back of monsters. So even in fantasy, like myself, I drafted Myles Gaskin, and I don't think I can start him because, again, they have 3 change of pace backs in Myles Gaskin, Malcolm Brown, and Salvon Ahmed. So they're all going to, I think, be getting a fair amount of carries. They're all very good change of pace backs, especially together. That unit can move the ball on the ground very well. And again, going into this season, I am not sold on the Patriots' run defense. So this will be a nice test in the early going to see just how they'll hold up against a team that is going to try to move the ball on the ground and can move the ball on the ground when the matchup favors them. The matchups I'm looking forward to this week first is the Patriots defense, like we just talked about against the run. This will be a fun kind of litmus test to see where the Patriots run defense is at, where the run defense is at against the team that will run the football, especially, again, if the matchup favors it, like I just said. Next one, of course, is J.C. Jackson versus Devontae Parker. Again, J.C. Jackson wants to be paid like a number 1 corner. He wants his bag. He has really, to this point, earned his bag. But now the spotlight's on you. Gilly's not on the other side. You're probably going to draw the number 1s most weeks. So let's see what you got. We know Devontae Parker has kind of torched this New England secondary before, so let's see if we can rewrite the history books on that one. And finally, Mac Jones versus the Dolphins. I mean, this one's pretty much a no-brainer. This is our guy, the rookie, the guy that's going to be here for the next couple years at least, the guy that we're going to watch go through growing pains and grow and learn how to play the position. And it's against the defensive coordinator who is very good and a defensive mind who is very good. So it'll be a very cool chess match. Let's hope Mac Jones can get out there and win a game in his first start in the NFL. That's obviously the third and, to me, the most important and most fun matchup to watch. My final score prediction for this week is the Patriots 24, the Miami Dolphins 17. I think the Patriots defense is really the big story here. Mac has a pretty underwhelming day in terms of stats. I don't think he's going to do anything super crazy. I don't think we'll see any sort of gadget plays. I wouldn't think, at least not this early into the season. But I think they play safe. They run the ball. They're able to move the ball on the ground pretty comfortably. Mac will make some big throws when he has to, but it's all going to be pretty low-key, pretty straightforward offense. And I think the defense will be able to get to Tua, make him throw the ball a little bit more than he wants, especially from uncomfortable positions on the field, be able to get home and sack him a few times. Patriots win the turnover battle, get Mac Jones the ball in positive field position, and the Patriots squeak out a win against a good team, get the season started off right in their building. With the fans finally back, it should be absolutely electric. So I do think the Patriots squeak out a nice win here by a touchdown. Patriots 24, Dolphins 17. So those are my thoughts and the matchup regarding the Dolphins in Week 1. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Leave it down in the comments below. I'll be live tweeting the game on Twitter at the Tyler Brandt. Also, I'll be on Instagram at Talking Pat. So if you're watching the game, just shout me out. You know, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's chop up Patriots football style. Leave some comments again down below. What do you think the outcome of this game is? How do you think the Patriots win this game? Also, I'd be happy to chop it up with you down there. But that is going to do it for me. Once again, I'm Tyler Brandt. The Patriots season is finally upon us. Enjoy the game today. It's a beautiful day here in New York, so I'm certainly going to enjoy the game. I'll talk to you guys next time.